All right, Ty. We got Christmas time here coming up. Well, I guess we're right in the middle of Christmas time. Favorite thing? Well, are you a Christmas guy? Are you do you go all out?
I wouldn't say I go all out, but I really do enjoy Christmas.
Yeah. So give me what's your favorite thing about Christmas?
This year, I think my favorite thing about Christmas is the gift exchange. The gift exchange gets pretty ruthless with my family. So I think I don't know what Yankee swap I think is what they called it on The Office. So I think we'll do the Michael Scott Yankee swap, and then also I mean the food. Like as much as I'm not like I like turkey. I'm not like a massive fan of turkey. My brother's gonna do a smoked ham. We'll do a sweet potato
Nice.
casserole. My mom will do her corn and cream cheese casserole thing, and stuffing the works. And yeah, I think you can just not beat that. Yeah, you?
So is turkey the most overrated dish of Christmas time? Is that fair to say, or what?
you you know what's funny is my brother's been really trying to nail. We're not doing Christmas at my brother's this year, so we gotta switch it up. He's been trying to do the smoked turkey because it seems like smoked turkey is kind of starting to be a thing. Um,
Hmm.
and I think if you nail a smoked turkey and like keep it moist and keep it juicy, like I honestly think that's a smashing hit. But for right now, I would say turkey is arguably top two most overrated dish.
I agree with you. It's just too dry. It's not a fan.
It
I mean, it
also like makes
might
you
ruffle
feel
some feathers, but yeah.
it also makes you feel like kind of like down in the dumps.
You're right. You're right. That's why you
Like
always nap
I
after.
yeah, like it's just even like my auntie looked at me this year. She's like, "We're gonna do Christmas dinner earlier this year, so we can actually enjoy the festivities after." I was like, "Yeah, yeah, that's about right." But I mean, Christmas is gonna look a little bit different for you guys this year. Like, is there a favorite part you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I mean, I always love I mean, aside from being with my family and things like that, which we're going to really miss out on this year. It's really unfortunate, but I love Christmas. I love Christmas music, like Christmas jazz music around the Christmas tree with some candles and the lights, like that vibe. Um, I'm all about it. So that's kind of just what I envision when I think of Christmas, having a coffee by the tree and stuff like that. I love that. We grew up, we had a real fireplace, so listening to the fire crackle and the smell and more, um, it just paints a good picture in my head. But this year we're going to be going up to the mountains in Switzerland, so that'll be cool. A good change of pace, and that'll be my son's first Christmas, so that'll be really special. And yeah, I mean, it's just going to be the three: my wife, my son, and I, and we'll just have to FaceTime in for a good Christmas talk with the family. But yeah, we're looking forward to it. I wish I could show you my Christmas tree. Maybe I'll get a picture of it and put it up on the Instagram. But we literally just drew a Christmas tree up on paper. Like we probably used, I don't know how many pieces of paper, like 15 pieces of paper, and made a tree and stuck it on our wall with snowflakes hanging from the ceiling. So that was our, we didn't have Wi Fi or cable. So that was our little craft day duty. But yeah. So yeah, Christmas time's great.
Next,
But go ahead.
no, no, next to your no microwave that should be in your kitchen.
Yeah, yeah, we're adjusting. We're adjusting over here. We need a micro. Well, I don't even know if they sell them here, but a microwave would be nice. But that's besides the point. Everything else is going amazing here. Yeah, today we had an unreal guest on, an old teammate of mine with the Seattle Kraken, Chris Driedger. Chris Driedger. Um, he's just a great guy. I got the pleasure to sit beside him on the plane, so we always dove into some good talks. And aside from being a great player, just a lot of bulk to him, a lot of interests outside of the game that make him a really interesting person, good perspective on life. And he shared that with us. So he's coming off ACL surgery, and we wish him all the best and a good recovery. And I know he's going to help that team win and keep them at the pace that they're going. So we had a blast talking to him.
Yeah, I think like a lot of hockey players, we've all experienced some weird goalies in our days, and I I can see that Driedger's just a fun person to have around, especially in the dressing room. I think he is able to keep it light, and but then again, it was interesting to like hear about the little endeavors that he's doing, outside of the rink, and I think you guys enjoy the roller hockey aspect that he's dove into, and yeah, I mean, he's just got a neat perspective, and he's obviously had a lot of time with his own thoughts over this last little bit, and a lot of time to think, and a lot of time to dive into some other stuff. And I think Riles and I did really Riles and it sounds like Riles and Drake's had a really good relationship, and obviously that carried over to the podcast here today. And also, my name is Tyler Smith, and this is my co-host Riley Sheehan, and this is the Speak Your Mind podcast, powered by TorchPro. But yeah, we hope you enjoy this. And before we send you off to the podcast, our amazing Hannah Morway continues to do wonders with the Speak Your Mind social media. And I lost a tough one last week in the New Tune Tuesday, but head on over, check it out. We keep it light, we keep it fun. And even though Rouse is an 8-hour time difference away over in Biel, Switzerland, we still making it happen. So much love to you all. Enjoy the episode, and just remember to speak your mind.
Driedger, what's going on, my man?
Riley Shenanahan, it is so good to see you.
All right, so before we get started, one of my favorite last names in the NHL, and one of the only last names I've ever seen with a silent D. Can you talk about that at all? It's Driedger, right? Your name is Driedger.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's ever said it right on the first try, and like I don't blame anyone. Like, it's a complete nightmare. But yeah, I'll have to go through the ancestry line and figure out who decided to throw the silent D in there.
I don't know if there's another last name with a silent D. Maybe even another word.
Yeah, it's nuts
with a silent D.
It's pretty nuts to have a silent D in there. And like, if you were to just sound it out, it's probably Driedger. But yeah, it's somehow Driedger. So I wish I had more for you guys on the reasonings behind that. But that's what I've been told, and I've been tracking people for 28 years now.
I get Sheehan, Shenanahan, Sheen. I get all different ones, so I'm right there with you.
Well, Shenanahan just
yeah, Brendan Shanahan, Riley Shenanahan, yeah, whatever. More importantly, I think first serious question I have for you: best plain seatmate you've ever had in the NHL?
Best plain seatmate. Wow, this is a tough one. There's been a lot over the years.
You're supposed to say
no.
me.
I didn't. Yeah. No, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. We had a lot of fun last season. It was always a blast. Just coming on the plane, I'd look at you, you'd look at me. There were some times where we're like, another tough one, and then we would just get into a good conversation and keep it light. But due to the amount of size that we would have the side counter going, you're like, what do you be like, geez, what do you think the side count's at this point?
Yeah, after
this plane ride.
An hour goes by after just a consistent 4-hour flight when you're on Seattle. It's just all you hear is,
This side counter got me. But no, we always kept it light. Like, we just laughed about it. We didn't win a ton of games last year, so it was nice to have someone sit next to and keep it positive. I had a blast on that plane, and we just, kept it light. And,
like, you guys just strictly talked, like, didn't ever, like, are we getting into like some wild little conversations? Like,
I wouldn't say it was too wild. Like, we had a good thing going. Like, we would chat for a little bit, and then probably just like we both like read a book. We were kind of the only readers on the plane too. There might have been a couple other guys.
Yeah, you were big into chess. You were big into chess.
Oh, I was mucking chess. Yeah. I'm still grinding on the chess game. We had a good group though last year, chess legends.
Yeah.
And then I would sleep. But yeah, you'd sleep mouth open.
All right,
Put
enough.
your tube down and just melt over.
That's what I was waiting
Yeah.
for. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great times though. No, we had a lot of fun, and it was good to talk about stuff outside of hockey. Like I feel like we had a pretty in depth, wide array of subjects. So it was fun.
Yeah, we'll hit on some of those in a bit, but let's just start it off. I mean, obviously, the Kraken are doing really well this year, so that's nice to see, and kind of changes the mood and things like that. It's important to win. But you're coming off knee surgery. You suffered that at the World Championships, right? After the season last year?
Yeah, sure did. Gold medal game,
Yes.
third period. Yeah.
So does that factor into the recovery process for you at all? Like, I know, like, I'm not gonna I think there's like a little bit of guilt you could feel, right? Because you're not playing for your team. I'm not saying that you felt that, but it's accepted on both ends where you go play, and it's a great opportunity. Did you have that at all where you felt a little bad about hurting yourself in a game that wasn't for the team that assigned you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I guess I didn't you can never really look at it that way. I find if I were to be, oh, I shouldn't have went because this happened, then you'll just hold yourself back from a lot of future opportunities is kind of the way that I look at it. But I mean, it was definitely an unfortunate situation, but it was the first time I'd ever been able to wear the maple leaf and represent my country. So, growing up, that's always something that's I grew up watching the World Juniors and watching, the Olympics and, everything like that, right? Even Spangler Cup would be on or whatever. So pretty cool to be able to throw on the maple leaf, whether it's at the World Championships or whatever. And it was the first time for me. So I thought that was a tremendous honor. And then, just sometimes you get the short end of the stick and injuries happen. So it was tough for sure. There were some difficult moments. We had, my poor fiance, we had a trip planned right after the season, and we'd been grinding pretty good for a while. Hadn't really seen each other. She was in her last year of school, nursing school. So then we had a trip planned to Cabo after the season, and then I got the call, "Hey, do you want to come play for Team Canada?" And she was kind of like, "Well, we have this trip planned. I've barely seen you," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's Team Canada." And ultimately, we made the decision to go to Helsinki, and I was like, "Well, we'll just go after somewhere," So we had this whole Italy trip planned. We were going to do the Amalfi Coast, and then tore my ACL and had to cancel the whole trip, go to Seattle and get surgery. So it was
that's awful.
It was tough.
Yeah, that's polar opposites.
It was a big 180. So honestly, was in shock for probably at least a few weeks, and then your summer just kind of completely takes a turn. We decided to spend more time in Seattle and just get better recovery for my knee and really focus on the rehab. So it was difficult for sure, but back to your question, I tried to just not look at it like that. It's an opportunity that lots of guys do. Some guys say no, and if you look at the could haves, should haves, then you'll be staying up at night and not getting much sleep. So it is what it is, and on the hand I've been dealt, so I'm just trying to deal with it as positively as I can.
And I hope you've already booked a new trip to the Amalfi Coast for to make sure that your girl still loves you.
We need to, honestly. It could be our honeymoon trip, so we'll see. But we're gonna make it out there for sure. I haven't really seen too much of Europe, just traveling. I've been a couple times for hockey, but I would like to go over there and just bum around. I've heard obviously amazing things about Italy. So I'll make it out there. We'll make it out there eventually.
The life of a hockey player just kind of takes those opportunities away from you a bit, where you're so dialed in. Every summer, just you take your few weeks off, and then it goes right back into training. And it's unfortunate because
you kind of
as you get older, you start to learn that there's more out there, and hopefully you have a little bit of opportunity left without kids or other requirements. But it's cool to get out here, and you learn a whole lot. I know for me, such a culture shock. I have some funny stories already
Yeah.
about driving down like sidewalks. And Keisha, quick side note, we went to Bern like a couple days ago, and Keisha, my wife, puts in the navigation where we're supposed to go, but she puts it on walk instead of drive. So I'm driving down like these promenades that are just littered with people, and like there's Christmas markets and like people everywhere, and I'm in my car that's our logo is everywhere on it, our team logo, the card they give you. So like I'm just driving, having a full panic attack. Oh man, welcome to Europe, welcome to Switzerland. No,
there's nothing worse. That's unbelievable. That's like driving in the wrong lane. Like you take a wrong turn down a median, and you're going like the opposite way of traffic. There's
just give it everyone.
like that panic mode.
I know. I'm sorry.
That's awesome. I know we were talking about how much of a nails decision it was for you to go over to Switzerland. So I'm fired up for you. That's a nail gun move.
Fresh start, and I needed a little bit of clarity and a little bit of excitement and motivation. Kind of, I was getting a little, I don't know, not depressed, but just like my head wasn't there. I wasn't enjoying myself, and I was probably taking it out on my wife and kid, and just wasn't present. So, this was great for us, and so we'll see how it goes, see where it takes us for the years to come. But yeah, we're really excited, and it's fun. It's just a whole nother experience and way to learn. So it's good. But let's go back to knee surgery. Obviously, you, before your summers even started, like all of us hockey players look forward to the summer so much, to just take a second to decompress, and that opportunity just goes away. Like what did you have to work on from yourself, like your reflection and things like that? Like you look back at it, what kind of was you were forced upon? What did you have to learn as you started your summer, knowing that you had this huge hiccup in front of you?
Yeah. Well, it was tough just to like wrap my head around like the new plan for me going forward. Like last year, I wasn't super happy with how the season went, and it was kind of a big summer for me to just get back on the ice, get back to the things I do best, and just like have a great year. So then to have the injury was kind of obviously that's not going to happen. So just mentally kind of like shifting gears, and just finding a place where I can be like, okay, like how can we not use this, but like just acknowledge the reality and not turn it into a negative, and just adjust my course to the best possible outcome rather than get caught up in the negativity and, be a victim and say, woe is me, how could this happen? I'll just, have too many beers all summer and just, don't need to rehab kind of thing. So, but yeah, so definitely took some time. I mean, you do have a lot of time when you're laying in the hotel bed on painkillers and you can't really do anything. So, just that was kind of the hard time of when I just needed to like map out my next, 3-4 months at that point of the summer. And it was difficult, but and it was difficult for both of us, my fiance and I both, because it was a huge change of plans. So sort of needed to navigate that a little bit together. And she was super supportive, during very difficult times. Obviously, she had different plans for our summer as well. So big sacrifice from her, which was great. But it was good to have her to kind of lean on, and she took care of me bedside. So that was great. I mean, it was really helpful having someone to kind of lean on when you're going through that, like a difficult time like that. But so it's
no, it's interesting because like I think, I mean, you go right from COVID to now recovering from a pretty severe injury. So I mean, it's interesting to probably look back and think like I've had so much time with my own thoughts. I've had so much time with myself. Like especially in this like second leg of your knee recovery? Is there stuff that you're like finding more value in now? Like, is there stuff that you maybe have a newfound appreciation for that you maybe wouldn't have before just because you had so much time?
Um, that's a great question. Well, what I kind of ended up coming to the conclusion of is I was going to look at it mentally as I haven't really had a break from hockey for like more than the summer, which is like 4 months basically if you're out of the playoffs early. Since I was like I don't know 12 years old or maybe even earlier. I mean, we were just talking, the trainers and I, this is probably the longest time I've spent off the ice since I was like 7, right? Which is nuts. But what I ended up just like how I kind of structured it in my head is take this time to just like have a break. Like don't even worry about hockey during the summer or even like training camp. Like just take a rest, reset mentally, do some things you like to do, and just come back and attack it with a little bit more. It kind of makes you miss it a little bit, right? Like, and this is my 9th season pro. I mean, O'Reilly, you've played. Was this? It's got to be 13, 14 for you.
Yeah, 12 maybe. 13.
12, yeah, it's a lot. So it's just like you can kind of get lost in the monotony a little bit. So, and and it's a lot easier when you're winning and all that. But I just kind of framed it as like, okay, I'm going to take this opportunity to take a breather and reset mentally and come back and attack it with a kind of rejuvenated motivation and just kind of hit the reset button. So that's kind of ultimately the path that I ended up coming to, and I think it's helped a lot. I mean, I was actually like pretty. Like, training camp rolled around and it was kind of like stress free in a sense, and I think that was because, and it was actually my goalie coach, our new goalie coach, Steve Driedger, was kind of like, I came in and met with him like right off the bat, and he's like, dude, just take a break, man. Like you'll never have this opportunity again. Like just relax. And so credit to him. And it just kind of allowed me to look at everything like from a much more positive light and just kind of enjoy the no stress for a bit. And then now, kind of right now we're getting back to business and we're ramping it up and getting my head back in the game, and I miss it. So it's like fun to be back out there on the ice, and I'm hungry to get back out there.
That's refreshing though, when you have your person, I wouldn't call him your boss, but like kind of like as a goalie coach, like you're his prized possession and he's telling you like just take a break. Like I feel like the communication there where you can tell someone that, and like the amount of relief that you get, it's pretty important. I feel like that's something that's sort of changing in hockey, is just like that, like understanding where the players are mentally and just being able to side with them and communicate with them and pass on that information, because it goes such a long way when you have that ability to just relax and be yourself. So I'm glad that you're getting that feedback there. So your injury kind of created this opportunity of time, and I was pumped to see the Driedger's Keepers, the creation of that. I think, especially when I know when I'm in a little bit of a downfall or when I'm feeling like things aren't going well, helping other people is such a good tool. Was that the mindset at all through the time that you had, or was it just an opportunity where you had this initiative come up and it was important to you, so you started with it? Or was it a kind of like, I had this surgery, I'm feeling like I could do some good here, and now I want to follow through with it?
So it kind of started actually last year. Now that my agent actually has like there was a lady that worked kind of alongside them, and they just help guys if they have any like charitable like interests or interests outside of giving back, doing some good. And so she reached out and was like, hey, like obviously you don't have to do anything if you don't want to, but like I'm here if you need me, kind of thing. And she's like, "Are you interested in anything? Do you want to like?" And we had this conversation probably would have been like a year and a half ago. And I just kind of been picked up an expansion draft, and we sort of talked about it, but it was like a crunch timeline to get everything done. So we sort of just like put in place some things, and I had always told, well, like growing up, I'd always been able to just get my my equipment from the community center, and it really was a burden lifted off my parents' shoulders because no parent wants to buy their kid like $1,000 worth of, or whatever it is, $800. Like I don't even like it's a lot of money for a 7 or 8 year old to try goalie. What if day 2 he's like, I don't really like it. Like, all right, you're out $800. Like, see you later. So my community center, like we're in Canada, we've been playing hockey in Winnipeg since it was invented there. So we kind of have these kinks worked out. But the Seattle minor hockey is kind of just been starting out. It's a little bit smaller, so I was thinking like, well, why don't we do this kind of initiated through the team, and we can kind of make this program there. So we kind of set up the framework a little bit last year, and then this year, obviously with the injury, it just kind of really allowed me to focus on it, and kind of went through. And Vaughn was super helpful as well. I've been with Vaughn Gear for like maybe 12, 13 years now, so they've been super supportive, and they gave me a nice discount for some young kids gear, and we auctioned off my first set of pads to make some money. So it ended up working out really, really well. And we're just kind of setting up a way so that now kids can just try out goalie equipment, loan the gear like for free from the Kraken organization, and it's been really cool. So that's been a lot of fun, and the team's been super helpful. Like being hurt, it's like the perfect opportunity to just kind of step in and do some good. And I mean, there's no like, oh no, we're going on the road, So it was a good opportunity for me to just kind of do something else. And
have you got to be like hands-on where you see the kids with the goalie equipment? Like, have you been there to see that interaction?
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah, it was super cool. We launched it, and so I was there for the launch, and they kind of have these like goalie like learn to skate programs. So they'll have like a couple different age groups. So then the young kids, we got them this gear. They made this gear, Vaughn does, where it's called quick change, and it just straps right onto the shin pads. And so they can just put it right on, try it out, and then like they can switch like on the fly. It takes like 30 seconds to put on it and take off. So we did that, and we just like put them through some drills and said hi to the kids. And then there's another group.
That's awesome.
And they kind of got older and older as the day went through. But yeah, it was great. I mean, we're just trying to kind of expand the position and just make it a little bit more accessible to families that aren't trying to shell out, crazy amounts of money for their kid to try goalie. I know it's a huge setback for some parents. Like they're like, no chance, you're not going to be a goalie.
You aren't much of a player from what I read in the article.
No.
You're
No, I was terrible. Didn't really contribute much. So when I could contribute in that, I was like, yeah, sign me up for this, because I'm not helping out much offensively or defensively. So
that's good.
And then obviously, like, we kind of glanced over, I guess, the grind of making it to where you are now. I mean, now you can say, you played in the World Championship and you've been able to have a great start to your career. But is there definitely times where you like look back and you think about like how much hard work went into like, I guess, where you are now, and just like even over this past little bit, like diving into like the countless people that like kept you going and like kept you pushing? Because like in that article, I mean, you definitely touch on like the the amount of broken buses and the amount of this and the amount of that, and I think it does unfortunately get glanced over a lot, because for the most part, I think guys, or just like society, will see like the easy roads to the NHL, like just like the guys that get drafted first round and then just like instantly kind of go into the NHL. But like, I mean, you went through it and like you grinded, and like I think that is very admirable that you because a lot of guys will kind of just give up. A lot of guys are like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. But like, just as you look back, like, have you had time to reflect on like how special it is to now be where you are, but also like, I put a fuck ton of work into this, and like, I'm really proud of myself for that also.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that I have a lot of pride in. Just the time spent in the minors is they're hard years, man. Like like it's always those size on the plane. You can't like. There's a lot of size in the minors. The side counter is off the charts.
It would break in the minors.
Yeah, it would break for sure. And then like the time in the East Coast League and stuff. But you know what though, like. Yeah, it was like a long road to get here, and there was definitely times where I was like, "There's no chance." I remember talking to my agent, being like, "I can't believe these guys are still, answering my calls because like this is not looking so good." But yeah, I mean, just I didn't really have an option, and I was just going to keep going. Like there was definitely times where I was like, "Hey, maybe I should check out Europe and just do that because it's not looking so hot over here." And it was actually my agent that was like, "Yeah, maybe." Stick around, see what happens. You're still young. Guys make it all the time. After, and I was kind of like, I don't know about this, but I ended up listening to him and taking his advice, and it ended up working out. So it was a long road, man, but you learn a lot, and I think it was. I definitely got lucky. I think I kind of had one crack at making the NHL in Ottawa, and it didn't work out for very some obvious reasons. That being like, my professionalism needed work ethic needed work, and I got an opportunity and just didn't really, rather than roll with it, I kind of squandered it. And you kind of get one shot, right? Like I know for a lot of guys, you get your one game and it goes well, then we'll see what you got. If it doesn't go well, then all right, we're going to grab someone off waivers. And that's exactly what happened to me. They grabbed Mike Condon on waivers and see you later. So, but yeah, so I think those going through that really taught me a lot of hard lessons. And after that would have been my fourth year pro. After that, we kind of parted ways with Ottawa, and I just kind of had to take a long look in the mirror and came back. My fifth year pro started in the East Coast League in Manchester, and that was humbling in itself. In my fifth year, I'm like, what am I doing in the East Coast League? I kind of told myself, like, if I was ever in those, like in the coast again, like I should probably, head over Europe or find a different line of work. But I was like, okay, you know what? Like, there's opportunity for me to get called up. And sure enough, I did get called up to the American League quite a bit, and then ended up earning myself a job there, and just kind of had an attitude of, I've got nothing's being given to me at this point at all. I have to work for every single break that I can get. And that mindset, like really just, I didn't complain about anything. I was like, I'm working, I'm here to work. I have, talent, but I'm not going to tell you about it. Like, just watch me and you'll see. And that was kind of, what led, and also some good opportunities. I had some guys in front of me that, didn't play so well. I had some guys get hurt. Some guys get traded in front of me. Michael Hutchinson at one point got traded out in front of me, and that just gave me a job in the American League. And I was like, oh my God, we're back. Thank goodness. But it was a long road. And when I do reflect on it, it's a lot of fond memories. I had some of the best times, like on the on the broken buses. Some of the jokes that are going around between the guys are just, they'll crack you right up. So it's and I met some great people there, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. So it's a cool part of my journey.
What do you take from your experience with Ottawa, the organization? What do you take from how you were then? Like specific things, if you look back on Chris Driedger then to now, like exact things, what did you have to change? I'm thinking about how a young hockey player could relate to this answer, and maybe things that they're doing at this point in their career where to get to the next level they could change. Like what are those things for you?
So for me, I didn't understand that, like, you just need to shut up and work hard. Like, that was, I remember a specific conversation with Mark Crawford, who's our assistant coach, and Crow is like, he's a pretty intense guy. And at one point he pulled me aside. I've been called up. This is my third year. And I've been playing well in the American League, like, kind of was like, oh, like, you know, I should probably deserve to play in the NHL. Like, I've been doing so well. I was the number 3 guy in the depth chart. Like, give me a chance, this, that. And I got called up and I was like a little too comfortable, you know, like just a little, yeah, I was not shutting up and working hard. And basically Crawford, I was getting sent down. I think Anderson got healthy. And he just pulled me aside, and he was in LA when Jonathan Quick got called up, and he kind of just made that analogy and was like, you know what, when Quickie came up, like, he didn't say a fucking word. He just worked his bag off. And he said, you know, a lot of other stuff too, but that was kind of like the meat and potatoes of what he was telling me, was just shut the fuck up and work hard. And I was like,
Yeah,
fair enough. So that was kind of a changing moment for me. And it was just kind of an attitude, because, like, you know, pro hockey player, like, you kind of come up and you're like, then you stay in the nice hotels in the NHL. Like, it's easy to just be like, oh yeah, this is really nice. You know, I don't really need to, I don't know whether it was just like entitlement or what, but, like, I guess I didn't realize, like, you need to fight like tooth and nail for a job in the NHL. Like,
yeah,
as a goalie, like, you don't get given a job. Like, you have to go up there and take a job from someone else who already has it. So me coming up, like, thinking that, you know, this was something that I deserved, was like, thinking about it now, like, nuts. Like, what was I thinking? So that was one of just like a mindset thing. But then it was like also just like the off ice stuff as well, like going out for beers with the guys. And I used to kind of, if I wasn't starting, I would kind of just be like, you know, like, I don't really need to do the same routine as when I'm starting. And then I was like, okay, like, this is the NHL we're talking about. Like, I need to give myself every opportunity. Like, I need to do everything properly. And like, when I had that like light switch go off, I was like, okay, I need to have a proper diet. I need to always be hydrated. I need to get sleep, like 8-9 hours of sleep every single night. You know, sure, like, you'll have fun with the guys if there's a day off the next day, but like, no hungover practices. Yeah. Like, that was something that some guys can do it. Like, I'm not good enough to do that.
It's hard for,
and I wasn't in a position where, yeah, it's not pretty out there. So, like, there's just a lot of different things that I was like, okay, well, if I'm gonna really want this, like, I'm gonna go 100% all in, chips in the middle. Like, we're gonna do it. So I just kind of went complete 180 and was a pro again. So that's kind of what it was for me. And also being in a new organization where I had no like when you're drafted by a team, like, they want you to succeed, so they'll give you an opportunity. Yeah. So if you go to a new organization, you got a clean slate, but like, no one owes you anything. So like, you have to literally fight for it.
Yeah.
So that kind of gave me that extra motivation to, you know, take jobs from guys that were drafted from there. Like, oh, you know what? He's not, you know, eating properly, or, you know, he doesn't work that hard. Like, I'm going to outwork him. I'm going to eat better than him. I'm going to be in better shape than him. And that mindset, like, carries over onto the ice, like, even in practice, and then that carries over into games. So that's kind of some things. I don't know if that answered your question, but
no, that's good.
Kind of things
that's perfect. Shit, I just had a question rolling off my tongue and I just forgot it.
Well, I want to bring up Bob then.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say, Ty. Good. We think alike. Bobrovsky.
Yeah. I grew up with that, like, in my head, like Jay and Dan, like, Bobrovsky, you're back on the case. Like, his goalie partner was like the coolest thing in the world.
Did he, like, I mean, you're getting the chance to play alongside a legend. Like, I mean, did he? Because you kind of said it. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, he doesn't really owe you anything. Like, you're coming to this new organization. Like, I mean, he's the guy. Like, it's not like he needs to spend an hour a day, teaching you things. But like, was that a pretty vital relationship as you kind of started to grow in your own shoes? Like, were you constantly being able to like understand, how he went about his work ethic and like how he went about, his days where you're starting even?
Yeah, so that's a great point. Like when I like, it's funny because we just had that conversation, and I think I touched on this a little bit in the article, but we just had the conversation about how I needed to like do everything that I possibly could to like make it to the NHL and like be the ultimate pro. So that was like my mindset. Like I got to do everything. So I'm like revamping my warm up routine. Like I'm doing all this, and yeah, I show up, and Bob's doing like he's literally in the gym like an hour and a half before like anyone else. Like it was nuts how much time he was spending in the gym, like doing stretching, and like he was the most dialed I've ever seen anyone in hockey. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm not doing everything I can. Holy. So it was like kind of one of those like, wow. Like, and obviously he's got like two Vezinas, like one of the best, to do it. And so I was like, wow, it was like another wake up call. You're like, okay, well, like obviously it takes a lot to get there. And so it was cool seeing that and just kind of seeing his work ethic. And like that guy on the ice is like, he just takes his own end. Like he'll go out on the ice like 40 minutes before practice and just do like post work for like 40 minutes and then practice and then stay out after. And then like, he's a machine. I can't even like physically do that. Like I'm gassed. Like I need to get off the ice. But he's like just this like Russian animal, and he can just bang it out. Like it's so impressive. But it was cool to see, and he was just like such a good supportive guy. And even like there were points where they would be leaning on me for a couple games in a row, and he would just be. I remember one time specifically, he just came in and was like, like, "Hey man, like you're really fun to watch. Like great job, keep going." And like it was a game that I played instead of him. Like probably should have been his game, but they decided to go with me, and it was just like such a good show of leadership by him that it was pretty cool. And he just reached out to me. Florida was in town, so we talked the other day just briefly over text, and he's just a rock solid guy. So it was cool to be his goalie partner and learn from him.
That's awesome. You always hear that about the guy. Like, I love hearing stories about guys that are like so good, but then they go out of their way to make people feel like it doesn't. Like that's literally like whatever 5-6 words he says. Like you're really fun to watch out there. Like, I mean, requires no effort for him. But so many guys forget about that element of the game. So it's good that he's passing that on to you. Let's go.
Awesome.
Let's go away from hockey. I mean, I think we spoke on it earlier. Like, kind of one of the reasons why I love sitting beside you on the plane was just like you have bulk to you. You're interested in different things, and one of the most intriguing things I thought conversations that we had was about this roller hockey documentary that you're involved with. And so I don't think many people would remember. Maybe not. But is it the California? What was it called? California Beach Roller Hockey League, or you got to give us the lowdown.
Maybe.
Pro beach hockey.
Yeah.
So what are you
absolutely.
doing? What's going on?
Okay, I'll give you the quick version of how I got involved in this. Basically, so Max McCormick, Kraken player,
Great guy.
we had the same rookie year in Ottawa. Yeah, Maxi is the best. And so he was kind of up and down with us last year. And one day when he's called up, I'm like, oh, let's go to brunch. Like I've known Maxi for like years. So we go to brunch, and he's like, hey, and he's been, he's got some real estate. I like have some real estate as well. And we kind of talk about things, business things outside of hockey, kind of one of our things. So he telling me about this buddy he went to Ohio State with. He played hockey briefly, but he's a film guy, and he like graduated with like went to. I'm not sure exactly like what the terminology is, but like went to school for like film, got his degree and that sort of thing. So he's like, yeah, I've been, this buddy of mine, he's kind of been talking to me. He's got this idea. He's like, there's this roller hockey league, and they played it in California in the 90s on Huntington Beach. And it was on ESPN, and they had ramps behind the net, and it looks just completely insane. And I'm like, show me this. And he's like, yeah. So he's kind of trying to get me like to invest in it and like get this thing rolling. I'm like, that sounds interesting. Like, let me see, like, do you have a trailer? And he's like, yeah, come check out the trailer. And I look at this trailer and I'm like, I didn't even know that the league existed. Like, I think it was 97 to 99 or 96 to 99. So I was like just before my time. But guys like the older generation, like they would remember. It was literally on ESPN. And I'm like, someone's got to tell this story. So we ended up getting on a call, the three of us, and we're like, okay, like, what do you need, Jake? Like, Jake's the director. And he's like, well, I kind of want to just need to like go to LA. Like, I've done this small amount on my own, like just need a little bit of money to get to LA, and we're going to look for more funding and start shooting some interviews. I'm like, let's do it. So I kind of started him off, and we kind of became this trio of producers, which I never would have guessed in my, younger Chris would have never guessed of older Chris being a producer of a documentary. So, we've just been kind of talking to people we know in the hockey world, and it turns out like a lot of people are connected to this. There's a ton of guys that played in the league, and there was another league before it called RHI, Roller Hockey International. They played indoors, but this one was like more of like a WWE style, like outdoors, like stage fights. Like they had like cheerleaders, they had like fireworks going off, like it was wild. So we've just been kind of grinding on this, and we're in post-production now. The rough cuts, pretty much on its way to being completed in the next month or so, I think, is kind of our timeline, and we're going to be shopping it around. So it was always fun talking about it, Riley, you and I, because it's just like such a fun little like project to have on the side.
I remember it. I don't know how, because it is before my time too a bit, but I remember it. And then, like I told you, one of my teammates, Mitch Collin, his dad, I'm pretty sure played in the league. But like Ty, when he says there was ramps behind the net, like behind the net was just a giant berm. So like you're skating, you shoot, you just can do like you don't have to stop and turn around. You just like go up a quarter pipe almost type thing, and then come right back down. You're in the play. It's crazy.
It's insane. So it's been so fun working on it. Like, we shot a ton of footage, like with interviews, and we're obviously we need to get footage from ESPN, but it's all available. So it's been pretty cool. I remember I got COVID at one point last year, and I was down for the count, locked in my apartment for like, I think it was 7 days. And I was just like, had like a whole bunch of notepads out, and I was making calls, and I'm like, hey, you played in the league, like tell me some stories, like who should I talk to? Who do I need to deal with? We were talking to lawyers, like film lawyers. We're trying to figure out like the legal aspects with, trademarks and, all this stuff. There just is a lot to go into it. And then we're, pitching it. We pitched it to Amazon Studios at one point, and like just trying to, pique interest and just kind of sell this thing. And it's been a blast.
That's such a good way to work your brain, though, like coming at it from like a deeper perspective, I guess. Like, and I know you know that, and it's probably why you're doing it, but like just being involved in different things outside of hockey, like you're having these conversations that are going to be so valuable to you from like maybe directly, but just indirectly, where you learn how to talk, and you learn how to be in these meetings, and you learn how to do research and interview, like all these things. It's so good. Like I love when guys can kind of get out of their bubble of just being a hockey player, and just venture off and do something that's kind of uncomfortable. That's why Ty and I are doing this. So I give you tons of props for that.
Yeah. It's the best. Like just to challenge yourself in different directions is like, it's just so good for your mental health. I don't know. I love it.
And it's also like I took television broadcasting in school, and like the amount of shit we don't know about like production and like post production and like the amount of work that actually goes into like those like phases of making something is it's bonkers, man. Like it's honestly incredible how talented people are in that industry, and like also like being able to experience that firsthand is, I mean, so exquisite. Like it's just like beautiful to watch, like especially from like kind of the start to the end, to like see it like come into fruition. It's like I was a part of this. Like this is so neat, and like this is forever something that like I can have attached to like my name.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a ton of work, and like Max and I are kind of on the side, like just kind of observing and just giving our 2 cents here and there. Like we'll strategize with Jake and stuff, but like, you know, he's talking to editors, and like we've got to try and get footage from this guy who doesn't want to give us footage, and for whatever reason we got to find a way around. You know, we got to figure out how we can sweet talk this guy into like giving us access to the footage, and how to approach different problems. It just really gets your brain moving. And yeah, it's I mean, TV is something that's like incredibly complex, and just cool to just see, you know, what kind of goes on behind the scenes.
I can't wait to watch, or at least see a trailer or something. You gotta send over whatever you got.
I'll shoot you over the latest trailer. I mean, we're getting close. Like, kind of the next step for us is to start sending it out to film festivals and try to get like it shown there, and then go from there. But yeah, so we'll have a rough cut, like hopefully within the month, like in a month or two. So we have some updated trailers. There's some pretty heavy hitters in the that are talking about it. We got Pat Brisson, we've got Jeannie Buss, the owner of the Lakers. We've got Luke Robitaille on there as well, talking about it. We've got some cool people talking about it, and then like just the characters of the game too are just like, I mean, they're larger than life. They chose their players like for very specific reasons for their entertainment value, and like they still got it. You know, like 20 years later, 25 years later, like these guys are hysterical. Like one of the guys, he was a goalie, and he would play the guitar. He's like a rocker, like a straight up like hardcore rock and roll like guitarist, and he's got like a snakeskin like cowboy hat, and like he would play at intermissions. Like it was just like you couldn't make it up. So it's just been like, and like people tell me about this, and I'm like, there's no way, like this actually happened. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, this is gonna be unbelievable. So we'll keep you guys posted, and when we got a rough cut, or I'll send you the trailer, but I'll make sure you guys see it when it comes out.
Maybe the movie will catch some steam, and then the league will be recreated. Can be a good post-career.
We've always talked about that. Like, we need this league to come back. Like, I'll play in the league. It sounds like a riot. They would just tell guys, they'd be like, hey, like, it's going to be the summer. You know, your team's not playing. Come down. We'll pay for your housing. We'll give you a little bit of money, and live in Huntington Beach for free. Just play hockey 2 games a weekend. Guys are like, sign me up. It was a no-brainer. So they kind of had a good there. And they were on ESPN. Like, it was on TV. It was like, yeah, like you couldn't make it up. It was nuts.
That's awesome. All right, Tide, you got anything else?
No, I think, yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of, my mind is spinning now. I'm just like, is this going to be, like, are you guys, I don't know, you obviously can't share too much, but like, is this like, you know what, we'll chat about it after. You know, we'll chat about it a bit after, but no, I think that was I enjoyed that. That's I've had some neat relationships with goaltenders over the years, and I respect you guys a lot. And it was a pleasure to be able to chat and kind of hear more about. I mean, I like, even we were talking about with Chris Johnston, one of the TSN guys, and we were kind of saying how most of the time interviews with hockey players are very monotonous, in the sense of reporters are asking the same questions. Like, it's not like reporters are really diving into anything else. And like, I think even, Riley can attest to like being able to chat about what you love outside the game is so beneficial. And I think people want to know. And like the fact that you're, challenging yourself with the film and challenging yourself with, Driedger's keepers is, it's awesome. And I commend you for that. And I'm looking forward to seeing the trailer.
Well, I appreciate it, boys. It's been an absolute blast being on. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Driedger, looking forward to seeing you back in the Kraken sweater. I'll be watching.
Tell me about it, man. I cannot wait. I got the itch hard right now to be back playing hockey. It's nuts. I took my breather, and now I'm so hungry to get back. It's hard to watch the boys play and just be like sitting in the room, like I should be there.
Well,
we'll get there.
You'll be
chat.
Yeah, you'll be great.